Is it appropriate?
It's appropriate. Looking good. That's perfect.
Mine's just appropriate. His is perfect.
What are you gonna do on the bye week? I'll start there.
What are you, the host?
Sure.
You're asking me the questions. Bye week, I was here, stayed in town.
Nice.
Did some work with my other job, RBC, investment advising. Tried to meet with some people and get ready for that as the season ends. That's going to sort of ramp up for me. What did you get up to?
Well, just went back home, saw the girlfriend, and saw the little sister and the rest of the family. So it was pretty nice, pretty chill. Expensive.
Back in the Hammer?
Back in the Hammer, yeah.
That's where you're going to stay in the off season?
Yeah. I'll stay there and work out there in the off season, but
At the McMaster?
I think I'm gonna work out at Cornell Performance. It's like a sports-specific gym in downtown Hamilton, but yeah, that's pretty cool. And then treated myself, got myself a nice little watch.
Oh, you did? What did you get?
I got a nice, I wish I wore it today, but I got a little Fossil watch. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like,
You've been thinking about it for a while?
Yeah, for about a year now, just like nice leather strap,
Nice.
Change it up. So yeah, you're a big watch guy?
I have my Fitbit. And I enjoy wearing the watch, not having to check the phone for the time.
Mm-hmm.
I would, I think this is going to do me fine for
Yeah, you never
the
dress it
foreseeable
up.
future. You can wear this with a suit. You know? Okay, it lets people know, I take my fitness seriously.
Fair enough. I guess watches are a bad investment then, or?
Well, I mean, not necessarily.
Depends
Like
what you
something
buy.
like a Rolex, like that holds its value, but they're expensive to start with.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't say it's necessarily a bad investment, but probably not where you should start if you're looking to invest. If you have a little bit of money, I wouldn't run out and buy
Just buy Tesla.
a Rolex. Are we going to have to do the disclaimer at the beginning that no stocks that we talk about can be traded by the guests?
I know you're not a fan, man. It's okay.
No, I'm not. Why did you buy it?
Honestly, just because it was pretty hot, and it was just like the big name stock, and then it kept going up, and I was like, sweet, I'm making money, but I think it was holding way too high just because of the hype around it.
Oh, so you got rid of it?
Yeah, I just sold it off.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Say what you.
the good thing about investments and all that stuff is this is a saying. It's like you have unlimited pitches. You don't have to swing at everything, and you can just sit back and wait for something that you want to invest in.
Mm-hmm.
You can just opt out of a lot of things, which is important to keep in mind, I think. But what else? Are you into investing your own money?
Yeah. I've primarily just focused a lot on ETFs and stuff, just trying to hold for long term. And just seeing if I like any individual stocks or young companies. But
Yeah.
I'll try to hop in on that. But
Yeah, I think the earlier that you can start paying attention is beneficial because it's like a cumulative knowledge base, you can always learn something, and a lot of things sort of progress naturally, and your mindset will evolve, and you'll figure out what makes sense for you. That's kind of what I found.
yeah, fair enough. Did you when did you start investing then in your career? Did you start investing your first 2 years here? Or?
So I had some stocks given to me when I was young, a couple shares of Coca-Cola from my grandfather. And so that sort of planted the seed about what it even means, what is a stock? Okay, it's like you own a tiny, tiny fraction of the company. So that kind of planted the seed. So since then, I've sort of grown with that to pay attention to okay, what other stocks are out there? What makes the stock good? What makes the stock not so good? And it's sort of given me the perspective to start, first of all, paying attention, seeing what happens, and then trying to learn and figure out. It's kind of like a big puzzle. And so I've sort of gravitated towards companies like Coca-Cola, probably because that's, where I started. It has a real brand. It sells a real product. It generates a profit. It pays a dividend. And, right now, that's a lot of that stuff seems almost passé, like, oh, it's boring, or it's a boomer stock. Okay, boomer type of deal. But I can understand that, and it makes sense. It makes sense to me because you're an owner of the company. So if you own a company that doesn't generate any free cash flow, doesn't show a profit, like outside of counting gymnastics that some of these companies are doing, I mean, at the end of the day, what are you owning? And like, what is your long-term hope and aspiration for like what the company's going to ultimately become? Mm. So back to Tesla, I mean, is it a car company? Is it a technology company? He makes all these outlandish claims, and he's gotten away with it up to this point. So, I mean, kudos to him. He's cashing out, billions and billions of dollars of stock in these last 2 weeks. So
to the moon.
To the moon. And he's been to the moon with. Has he? He hasn't been to the moon.
No,
he's been into orbit.
Yeah.
With not him personally.
Yeah, you're kind of sweaty, man. You okay?
Yeah, I'm sweaty. I'm a sweaty guy. Is it distracting you?
Yeah, kind of.
We're linemen. You're going to tell me that you're not sweating right now?
I took the elevator up here just to, try to hide the sweat a little bit because it's a lot of stairs.
It's a lot of stairs. And we took them every day in camp.
Yeah, you'd think it'd get easier, but it really has. I think it's kind of gotten harder as the season's gone on.
Does that seem like that was a long time ago or a short time ago?
Training camp seems like it was like yesterday.
Yeah.
Except at the same time, like a really long time ago. I don't know. It's kind of weird because all of the days, especially during that span where we had like the 3 games in like 10 or 11 days, something like that. Like it was around then where like everything just like melded all into one. It was like rinse, repeat. Like, you play your game, then next day rundown, and then you're off. Day 1, 2, day 3, and oh yeah, we're traveling to go play another game.
Right.
It was weird. Like, and then just doing the same thing every day. It was interesting, but yeah, this season, looking back on it, went by really fast, except contrasting that with how I felt during quarantine. Like, I was like, man, 14-day training camp or something like that, or something, it's like 16. I was like, holy, like, longest training camp I've ever done in my life.
Yeah, compare that to what you would do at McMaster in the season there. What is it, like 8 games?
Yeah, it was 8 games, and we had like 3 days of actual training camp, and then you're getting ready for a scrimmage. So you like take back the load so guys aren't getting hurt in the scrimmage, and then you're into the regular season. And
do they make cuts at training camp? Or
no, you can't afford to cut guys, really. Like
anybody can come out?
Anyone can come up. If you show up to workouts and you show up to practice, like you'll be on the team,
Right.
It's different. I don't know, like contrasting that with you at Iowa. Like, do you guys get a lot of cuts during training camp and everything? Or
well, they don't have cuts, but like you have to be on scholarship or like a walk-on. Like they have a limited amount of people that they can carry on the roster.
Like, what's the limit?
I want to say like 120.
Jesus.
I don't know. It seems like a lot.
Yeah, I think we had like 90, and then even during
maybe 120. Yeah, that makes like because we had like 3 full lines like in the meeting room, like 15, 16 guys usually.
Yeah, we started with that like every season, and just as the season goes, guys getting hurt, especially full contact practices, and kids from high school on scout team going against like guys that have been in university and lifting for 3 years.
So you hurt a lot of people?
No, I wouldn't say so. Some guys in practice, you're banging bodies, like it's gonna happen. But
yeah, it comes with the territory.
Yeah, exactly.
So how was it going from the high school scout team guys, like you said, to coming and entering training camp? What was your impression of?
Well, it was weird because of COVID and everything. Like I had the full year off where I just like all I did was work out, and you don't take a single one-on-one against a single guy or anything, and you're just like. So then day 1, day 2, my initial reaction, I was like, holy crap, like these guys are fast. Because like everyone in university is like, they're either big and strong or they're like really fast. Whereas, you know, you get here and you're doing one-on-ones and it's like, okay, like this guy could do either, you know, and you kind of have to like be like, well, this is what guys like to do against me. And you have to start learning like, okay, how do I combat that? And, you know, like for me, I just get really wide. You know,
Try to do the splits as much as you can.
Yeah, I did the splits a couple of times during camp there.
Yeah.
Had to throw out those cleats, but yeah, could be worse.
So how do you think it's gone? Like you started every game. I mean, it's very impressive for a rookie.
I think it's gone well. I feel like I've learned a lot and gotten a lot better as the season's gone on. Just trying to slow the game down. There's still some stints where I'm just like, oh, I gotta like really like just slow my process down and slow my mind down.
How do you do that? How do you slow your mind down?
Just like taking a breath and just trying to key in on like, we always talk about like that point on like the shoulder pad, like the tip of the pad.
You know, where you're putting your focus.
Yeah, just bring my focus down to one thing, especially like at the snap.
Look at the pad or like a coaching point, like for your set or
like a coaching point in like my set, like as I'm like walking up to the line, like so if I'm gonna set and I'm man on man with a D tackle, I'm like, okay, I know this guy's move, like I have to make sure I set to cover because he's wide and like he's probably gonna twist. You know, or he's either going to twist or he's going to come back inside right away, and just, okay, I got to set with a bit of depth so that way I can pass off the twist and be on the same level as the tackle. Or whereas early on this year, I was just like, okay, I got to set the cover and we're just going to go from there, you know, just play some ball.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
Whereas as the season's gone on, you can kind of incorporate some more things. Like, yeah, I don't know, how did you feel your rookie season? Like
It was. Yeah, I mean, it's you're worried about who am I going to block, right? And you're like, oh, can I block him? You know, kind of thing. That like if that creeps into your mind, I feel like
I think that's
not
where you
good.
start like losing. You
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
It's like you walk in, you're like, I don't know if I can block this guy. Like you've already lost. Like,
if you have a bad like how do you overcome a bad play early on? Because like it's going to happen.
Yeah,
It still happens. So when you're young and you don't have the confidence to be like, okay, I know that I'm good enough to play. Like I know that I've established myself. I'm a player, and so I know that if I make a mistake or whatever, I can move on. If you're young and you haven't had that chance to establish yourself, you make a mistake, you have to be careful not to enter a spiral.
yeah. I find like the transition for me kind of started where you're just like, you walk in and you're, like Coach Wiley's saying all the time, you know, it's like you can't be afraid to fail, and you're like, what's the worst that happens? Like I missed my block.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Like and then things start going up. You're like, oh, okay, like I can let my nuts hang now. Like
Yeah. So absolutely, that's a great way to put it. You're afraid to fail.
Yeah.
I was afraid to fail. I mean, nobody wants to fail. Everybody talks. Oh, you know, if you're not failing, you're not really trying what to do. But
yeah,
I mean, at the same time, that's never the goal is to never fail. So, yeah, definitely getting a lot of getting a lot of reps your first year. Like that's going to be so helpful for next year in camp. And all those live reps. I mean, those are the ones you want. So that'll be a good start.
What do you think's been the biggest difference you've seen from like day one of training camp to now within our unit, other than just the different guys we've had in
Besides the
rotation?
faces?
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough. It's tough to say. I think this week it seems like everybody's kind of, you know, on the same page a lot more than we were. I don't know. I don't really think of anything in particular.
Yeah, I was just thinking like it feels like we've like really like come together as a unit, you know, like there's like
Yeah.
a lot of,
I mean, but that's like
lot
such
more-
a gradual process. It's
Yeah.
not like
yeah,
one day you show up and you guys are all.
there's a lot more banter now than there was like early on in camp.
You're all about the banter, right?
Yeah. You got to keep it fun, man.
Absolutely.
You gotta
I mean,
keep
it is
it
a
fun.
game. So yeah, it's O-line is always. I would say that O-line's got to be the best room in terms of atmosphere and just having a good time. Because we play together. It's not like one of us gets the ball or one of us doesn't, or one of us gets to make the tackle, one of us doesn't. Like we truly work together. So. And nobody else really cares about us, so gotta care about each other.
Yeah, wow. No one does care.
They think, like when it kills me when guys try to like take a kick slide or something on the sideline. I'm like, these guys are obviously phenomenal athletes, but like playing offensive line is tough.
I mean, like, look at
And
me. I'm a phenomenal athlete, man.
You are in your own way, in your own special way. We all are, but it's like we're learning an unnatural skill. Like when you see kids playing football in the park, nobody's kick sliding. Like you're running it with the ball or chasing the guy with the ball.
Yeah.
Or running and hoping you're going to get the ball. You're running forward. We're like moving backwards trying to stop somebody that's running at us most of the time.
I remember, like, I started playing football, like, back in grade 7, like, touch football.
Yeah.
And I was so upset because I was, like, the center.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Nobody wants to be the
I'm like, no one wants to be I'm like, I don't want to be this, and I'm never going to touch the ball. I'm like, this
Yeah.
is horrible. This is horrible. And then
Here you
as
are.
time goes on, you can kind of just fall in love with it.
Well, yeah, you realize it's a unique skill set, right?
Yeah.
And the thing that I like the most about it is like there's so much room for improvement, so many things you can improve. You can always get better, and that's kind of what I think the best thing about the CFL for me is that it's given me the chance to keep playing.
Yeah. It's really interesting. Like, as good as you do on any given play, like there's always a coaching point or like always something you can do more, and like that, like just seeking to always improve is just like really awesome because it just keeps your mind like always engaged, you know, where if you're running downfield on a route and like you run a really clean route, but then, you know, you don't end up getting the ball, it's like that's got to be frustrating in its own way. Like,
Yeah.
but just it's way, way different. Did you start playing football at St. Mike's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grade 9.
Grade 9.
Yeah, I went out for quarterback actually.
No,
I got an arm. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, how far do you think you could throw it now?
No, I don't know. I've had shoulder surgery and all this kind of stuff. But so the St. Mike's is a really good football program. And one of my good friends, he was the quarterback. He's the same age as me, Chris Rossetti. He was with the Dolphins now.
Really?
Yeah, in the front office.
Wow.
So he was a quarterback. He's like a legit quarterback. He's been playing quarterback like his whole life. So it's like you realize pretty quick. You're like, okay, I should probably find another position. And then that's when I started. I was playing center all in high school.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I've only known you like here. I always just picture you like just right guard stance, just mauling guys.
Yeah, I was center. I played some tackle like when I needed to because of injuries or whatever, but I pretty much only played center. Yeah. And in grade 9, like I did not touch the field at all.
I mean, at St. Mike's, I'd be astounded if you
Yeah, but
did,
I mean, we had
obviously.
like a junior and senior team. So
Oh, okay.
it was like,
I thought you guys were just varsity, honestly.
no. So it's like, kind of just like stand around at practice, like, because we just run plays, right? It's not like you do a ton of drills.
Yeah.
And like, okay, like, this is cool. Like, I like it. Like, I didn't know anybody at St. Mike's when I went to school there. Like, we had just moved from Windsor. And so that's like how I made all my friends, the guys I'm still friends with today. So I think that's part of why I liked it so much, but we also were like really good and won a lot. So like that really, the winning is really what forms like the strongest bond I find.
Yeah, we did not win a lot in high school.
Are you still friends with anybody that you played with?
Yeah. I still really good friends with actually my buddy he lives in Ottawa. We were watching some football yesterday, but he was a receiver slash like DB because like we had like 22 people on our team, so we had to play like both ways. And him and I are still really, really tight. We've been good friends since like grade 8,
Nice.
which is pretty wild. And then because I played OVFL too, so still really tight with like a lot of guys from that OVFL team. And even though we did not win a ton of games either, like
Well, maybe it's not necessary, but
it does help.
Yeah.
The atmosphere and everything, like
all those
does
positive
help.
emotions.
Yeah, it does help form bonds. So
Yeah, and so then in grade 10, I was a starter on the junior team, and then in grade 11, again, I barely played at all, which was frustrating. So I like started working out and kind of made the decision that, like you want to improve, get on the field. So
is that when you started working out then? Is like grade 10, grade 11?
yeah, I probably started working out in grade 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had like a decent little weight room in there. You?
I'd say like grade 10, I like kind of started like working out like a little bit.
Yeah.
Except I was just playing a bunch of sports, and then the summer of grade 10, I just like did push-ups and stuff. And then grade 11, I started like actually like working out. I was like, oh.
How'd you know what to do? Did you have a program, or who showed you what to do?
I just walked into the gym and just started working
Picking
out.
stuff up and putting it down.
Yeah, pretty much. I was like, oh, like benching seems good. Like everyone benches, so I'm like,
Got a bench.
I'm like, I got a bench.
Everyone's doing it.
Everyone's doing it. Squats. Like when you first start squatting, you're like, oh, like squatting deep is just weird. You're like barely breaking 90, and you're like, and then you see video. I like have videos of me back then, and I'm like, what the was I doing?
Yeah, you're young. You got to make mistakes.
Yeah, but
Trying to figure it out.
Yeah,
Still trying to
exactly.
figure it out. So did you get a program, or you just went in there and just did whatever you wanted?
just did whatever I wanted. Like leg day, chest day, back day, kind of do.
Make it up as you go.
Make it up as you go. Yeah, like a lot of. You go like flat bench, then you go like incline bench, and then you go dumbbell bench, and then you do like cable
do all the
flies,
benches.
everything. Yeah, you got to do all of them. It was a lot of like, I'd say like a bodybuilding program instead of like sports specific, if that makes sense. But
And so how has that evolved for you over the years?
really changed for me when I went to university, and you get like more of like a sports specific program, and you're doing a lot more like single leg things and everything, just trying to work on like your core and your balance and everything. And then also just trying to become a more explosive athlete, and still just getting that like baseline like strength that you need in high school, to try to survive survive your first year of university, right?
And how was your first year?
It was fun. It was not a great training camp. I got cussed and then missed our first game, except then I dressed the rest of them. Got a start in our first playoff game just because of injuries, and I saw some film of it in like my third or fourth year, and I was like, oh, I've come so far.
Exactly. Isn't that the truth?
Yeah, like the classic, like you take one kick and then your hips open, and then it's just, oh, sick. Here's the quarterback. Like,
Right.
So it's always interesting, like looking back on those days, and you're just like, wow, like what a change.
Yeah.
But for you at Iowa, like, did you just practice probably your first year, or you redshirt?
Yeah, redshirt.
Yeah.
Yep, practice. Training camp was like, I think it's like 18 or 20 days type of deal.
Mine was like a week. It was a week, and I was like, this is horrible.
Yeah. Again, you kind of get into that, like, feels like forever, but like when it's over, you're like, what just happened?
Yeah.
Because every day is basically identical. And then into the game weeks, it was good. It was very, very structured. I think it's helped me a ton. Very grateful for the training that I received there. But even all that taken into account, like when you come up here and you are a pro, like in college, they try to teach everybody, do our technique. Everybody has to do it this way. and they kind of recruit around that. So like, hopefully you fit well with whatever technique they're teaching. But when you get up to the pros, it's kind of what I think is that you have to evolve your game kind of to figure out
what works for you.
Like, what are you really good at? And kind of center your game around that, because like, yeah, play to your strengths.
Yeah, I remember talking with you about that after our SAS game, and you're just like, because I was like really struggling with outside zone for a little bit, and you're just like, you got to figure out like what works for you, because like I came from, you know, the very typical university where it's like boom, boom, boom,
Right.
you know, and it's like you feel like a robot, yeah. And then now you're just like, you can just run. And I'm like, you can just, seriously?
Literally, yeah. Like, I'm sure you guys got coached on that, but if at the end of the day, like, this is a results-based business.
Yeah.
So like, they teach you one way, and like, yeah, if you can do it that way, great. But like, at the end of the game, they're gonna care whether or not you got the job done. So like, however you need to move, because I mean, you're moving, right? It's your body. Everybody's body's different.
Yeah.
So however you need to move your body to get there, to execute the block. And like I said at the beginning, like we are athletes. Like, some guys aren't. They're probably not playing at this level. They probably haven't started 13 games their rookie year, right?
Well, a little sidetrack here, but I had someone message me on Facebook the other day, just saying, hey, great size, like, are you very bellied?
What does that even mean?
He's like,
is this like a sex thing?
No. He's like, apparently he messaged Pick and a bunch of guys when he was at Guelph, just like all of the offensive linemen, because he just likes really fat, like offensive linemen with like really big bellies. And he was just like, are you very bellied? Like, do you have a big gut? He's like, I love when O-linemen have a big gut. And I was just like so confused with what was going on, man. Have you had any like weird messages or anything like that ever, or no?
No. Nothing like that.
No one
From
asked.
guys asking me about my gut?
Like, yeah, he asked.
No.
He literally like, he just messaged me like randomly, and he's like, yeah.
What do you mean randomly? Come on now. Randomly?
I got a friend request on Facebook. I didn't accept it, and then I got like a message request like, hey, like, are you very bellied?
Okay. No, I haven't. I haven't gotten that inquiry.
Oh, okay.
Thank God.
You never know. Maybe now. Maybe I ruined it for you. I'm sorry if I did.
Yeah, it was ruined for me long ago. Yeah, well, so speaking about that, it's kind of, for young offensive linemen up here in Canada specifically, I mean in the US too, but there's like a fixation on being 300 pounds, right? Mm-hmm. Don't you think?
Oh yeah, 100%.
And I don't think that that's good. I don't think that's a smart thing.
I agree.
Yeah. So because like, who cares how much you weigh? I get like back to the whole thing. Like have a unique set of circumstances. So some people can't carry 300 pounds. Some people shouldn't carry 300 pounds. So
I should not. Yeah.
I mean, how heavy are you?
I'm like 310 right now, but
Okay.
I'm like I want to drop down to 300. I just feel like I can move a lot better.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's part of the. I feel like a lot of guys think that when they come up.
Yeah.
To the pros. Did they encourage you to be heavier at McMaster?
They just kind of said whatever for me, but we had some O-linemen in the last two recruiting classes that were like 220 coming in.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, that's
well,
a
within
little,
reason,
like,
right?
Yeah, it's a little.
I'm not saying that you need to be 220, but like you need to build up muscle.
Mm-hmm.
You can't like it doesn't. The weight doesn't really matter. I mean, it's like the composition.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like that's been the big trend over the last like since I started playing football, is the transition from, you know, that old stereotypical O-lineman that is really bellied to, you know, to guys like Quentin Nelson or Tyron Smith, you know, who are just lean, you know, and have a really good body composition, aliens. And you're just like, wow.
Yeah, every pound of fat that you are carrying around you're just carrying it around. It's not doing anything for you.
Yeah.
So like, obviously you're not going to have 0% body fat, but.
Damn it.
I mean, you know, so. Yeah.
You have like a favorite moment from this year so far?
From this year?
Yeah, on or off the field?
Yeah, always just, I mean, it's probably just hanging out with the O-line guys.
Yeah.
The meeting room is good. I enjoy being in the meeting room. It was fun to win at Edmonton.
Yeah.
I mean, and beating them again here. I mean, winning is always fun.
Yeah. For me, it was like first half of the Argos game this year. I was just like, or the second one where we were just like running the ball, and I was like, man, like this is nice. Like we got a lead, you know, we popped a big run.
Right.
You know, like we're consistently running it. Like I think the first few runs we had, like they were all like 10-yard gains and stuff. I'm like, man, like
Yeah, it feels
this
good.
is nice. It's a good feeling, and
Right.
there's not a whole lot of things that really compare to it. You know,
Yeah.
that or, you know, just being out grabbing food and stuff with the guys at the bar.
At the bar. Drinking a nice vodka cocktail.
Yeah, you know, just waving our shirts around.
Is that what you like to do?
Oh, that was so funny. Oh, that was a good time.
You gotta let them know.
Yeah. Who do you think's the funniest guy in our meeting room?
I don't know. I mean, everybody's funny.
I think everyone's funny in their own way.
Yeah. We're like a big dysfunctional family.
Yeah.
Dysfunctional in like a fun, harmless way.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely a little dysfunctional, but
It's well, you
It's
see
like-
the
it's a
team
good thing.
come together. Like
Yeah.
I've really noticed it this week because like we were gone last week, then we
Yeah.
come back. It's the last week. It's the last week of the season. Like you can tell the guys enjoy being around each other. And so
Yeah.
I mean that's
think-
always good to see because the season obviously didn't go how anybody wanted it to. But-
yeah, and that's the other thing too, is just with how the season went and everything, given how guys are still like sticking really close together, and you know everyone's here for everyone else. Like I think that's like really good to see, you know, for the future moving forward, and
Right.
exciting for sure.
So you're gonna work out all off season and come back and at 300 pounds shredded.
Yeah, you know, just
Won't get any
shredded.
more messages on Facebook.
No more messages on Facebook. Yeah, I told him I have a medium belly, and
You responded?
Oh yeah, I had to. I was like, this
No,
is
you
too
did not
funny.
have to.
Yeah, I did, man.
No, you didn't.
It's a great story. But yeah, I was just like,
It's a story.
I'm just like, yeah, I'm medium bellied. He's like, oh, okay. He seemed like really dejected that I did not have a big belly.
I don't want to talk about that anymore.
Yeah, but no, come back. You know, 10% body fat.
Okay. So why'd you pick the place that you were planning on training at?
I worked out there a bit towards last spring, like beginning of 2021.
Okay.
And yeah, it was just a good gym, like everything not crazy busy, which is definitely nice. You know, it's a lot of the time it was just like me in there, also because of COVID and everything. But I was just, I was like, yeah, it's just nice, you know, like you have like all of the racks and everything. You're never waiting on a machine. Where I feel like, you know, some bigger sports-specific gyms, like I feel like sometimes, you know, there's just a lot of people there, and you're just like, I don't want to wait around. You know, I kind of want to just keep things going. Keep a good tempo.
For sure.
So that, and then it's in Hamilton. And I wanted to live in Hamilton. Just one, moving in with the girlfriend, and then just cheaper, way cheaper than
It is?
way cheaper than Toronto.
What about Ottawa?
I thought about it, but I already had plans to move back there with the girlfriend, and she's got work nearby, so
Gotcha.
works out good.
And you'll work out good too.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So like, are you gonna write goals for in terms of numbers, or how do you approach the off season?
I don't know. I'm gonna take like a week at the end of the season and just kind of see like these are areas that I want to improve on, whether it's like
In your game or like in the gym?
in the gym, like explosiveness, or because I'm like I don't really need to put on that much more size, but I feel like, you know, if I could be a bit stronger, a bit more explosive, and
Do you jump rope?
yeah,
You do.
big fan of jumping rope.
What's your protocol with that?
I try to go like 10 minutes, like just
Straight.
straight.
Without
if, like,
stopping?
yeah, if I have to take like a quick break, because you know you hit your feet or something. Like
Does that happen
that.
often? Are you good?
I'd say I'm like decent.
I don't think I've seen you.
I haven't jumped rope really this year.
No.
Yeah, they're kind of short.
You gotta find the right one.
I know. I honestly haven't looked at it.
Alright.
I was just like,
No judgments on him. Just asking.
yeah. I was just no. I really enjoy jumping rope and because it's good for like your foot speed and everything, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm not a big fan of when you go like both feet. You know, you kind of got to switch it up, like one foot, other foot. You know, because both feet are kind of moving independently.
Right.
Especially like patterning your feet. You know.
You like to do that?
Yeah. I don't know. How about you? You a big rope skipper?
Yeah.
Yeah. A little double dutch here and there.
I used to jump rope like back when I played hockey.
Oh, you're a big hockey player?
No, I've like played single A.
Okay.
I got cut from like every AAA team I ever tried out for.
Hey, you know what? You found your sport.
I found it.
Yeah.
It's one that if you hang around long enough, you get to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, but skipping is. I feel like I did a lot of things by accident that like have really helped me with football. Because like I played defense, so like you're kind of moving backwards, skating backwards. We're moving backwards in our pass sets. I feel like that's pushing laterally, like all that kind of stuff. Like I think I've done a lot of things that have.
Was that your number one sport growing up then? Was hockey?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else or no?
Growing up, I played baseball. Just like house league or whatever. Yeah, that was it.
I did not touch baseball. It was like the one sport I was like, no.
Soccer?
A lot of soccer, and then switched to football when I was just too big for soccer. You know, you start running some kids over by accident, and it's like I probably shouldn't be playing this as much anymore.
You're too nice to run people over.
I don't know. I knocked one kid out in grade 8, and
why? What did you do?
well, like we were both like running at the ball at the same time. He's coming from here, I'm coming from here, and then like I hit the ball and then hit him, and then he just like hit the ground right away, and like he was just knocked out.
Is he okay?
I don't know.
I guess that was a while ago.
Yeah, a long time. I didn't even know the kid's name or anything, and
Wow.
well, it's you're playing a kid from another city, right? Like.
So what? Anything goes?
Like no, you don't know the kids or anything, right? Like,
So it's okay to knock him out?
no, but like you're just playing. Like
Right.
I hit ball first. Like I can't really slow down, you know.
Did you apologize
Yeah, I apologize. I felt bad.
when he regained consciousness?
Yeah, I felt bad, but yeah, I don't know. I played soccer and then tennis growing up too, just because it was like
Tennis?
Yeah, it was.
Nice.
We had a court right by my house growing up, and
Oh yeah.
it was just the only summer camp because both my parents were working, so just
Nice.
did like the entire summer.
Do you
just
still
playing
play?
Tennis. Honestly, no. I play a lot of squash now.
Oh, squash.
Yeah, squash is a lot of fun, and played some volleyball, but yeah, just didn't keep up with it. It was too much jumping. You know, the weight on the knees. It was sore.
Yeah, I hear you. I played volleyball in like elementary school. It was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
And I did track in high school. Did you do that?
I just did shot put, and then I tried javelin one year, but javelin's hard. And then
Yeah.
I thought about running the 100-meter just as a joke because we needed someone to run the 100-meter, but I didn't end up doing it, and I still regret it. I wish I did.
There's a lesson there.
Yeah, just do it, man. What's
Thank
the
you.
worst that happens? You lose a 100-meter in high school, like
Yeah. At least you did it.
yeah.
And you'd be
exactly.
faster now.
I know. Maybe. I just
Yeah.
focused on. I was honestly just gonna run it just for fun, see what my time would be. Yeah. Did you have a combine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had like a pro day.
Oh, okay.
Pro day.
What was your 40 time?
5.05.
Really?
Yeah.
You were moving.
I was moving. I saw there's like a picture of me crossing the finish line. I'm like landing on my heel. I'm like, it's terrible form. That's all I could think.
Not that you just ran a 5. Well, you know what? If you didn't land on your heel, maybe you break 5
That's what I'm
seconds.
saying.
Right?
You're like, you know, like
What could have been?
what could have been?
Yeah.
But you can't live your life like that.
Yeah. What'd you rep out to? 25 for?
25.
25. Nice. It's a good number.
Yeah, decent. Respectable.
Definitely respectable. You can't complain about it.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted 30, but
Yeah. That's fair.
didn't happen.
Hey, you know what? Maybe if you waited another week, maybe you get 5 more. Who knows?
We'll never know.
Yeah. You still ever rep out 225 just for fun or no?
No.
No.
No. I don't really bench much.
Really?
Yeah.
What's your like off-season training look like then?
We do bench, but like with bands or with like chains and stuff.
The extension's big because like not a lot of stuff comes from in here.
Yeah.
Right.
And like inclined, I like that better on the shoulders. I really got into like body weight stuff when I came up here,
Really?
like pull-ups,
Pull-ups.
like
have
single
become
leg box squats.
big. Okay.
You know, like stand up on one of those boxes and single leg squat. Because I feel like that's, like you said, about the core strength. Like that's how you really, I think, develop core strength, and you can like really, again, it just makes sense. Like you're overloading your muscles. Like it just is really easy to understand. So like you do the squats until it's easy, and then you like, you know, hold 5 pounds, then you hold 10 pounds, and then you're like, okay, like you're pretty strong at that point. Like you're actually strong, like functionally strong. So
That was a big thing that I had like to learn coming from high school to university is there's like a difference between being like gym strong and like
Right.
weight room strong versus like functionally and like actually strong on the field. Like there's like a huge difference.
yeah,
Because like I've seen some guys that are like really strong in the gym and it's just like this does not translate at all onto the field. Like
And what do you think that missing piece is?
honestly, I think like a lot of it has to do with like that core strength, and then, in my opinion, like grip, just like trying to transfer, you know, that weight from your legs and everything, like through your core and then through your arms, and then like the last point's like your grip, and I think like a lot of guys just like lack that grip strength, which I think like pull-ups are huge,
Yeah,
huge for that. Like,
yeah. So I've been like I train with. Brad introduced me to him, Sean Young, at Canadian Strength, and like he does my program and all that stuff. So like, yeah, you do all that, like do stuff that like I don't know enough about that stuff. Like do a detailed program,
yeah,
and it just holds you accountable in a lot of ways. But before that, like I would just try to like find something that was like really hard to do, like chin-ups or step-ups with like heavy-ass weight. Like find ways to like get in kind of like odd positions and like move out of it.
yeah. I think that's one interesting thing too is like on field you find yourself in just like positions that aren't natural for your body to be in. Not only like stepping backwards, but like, you know, your feet are never in like the same spot or anything, and like just finding ways for your body to be strong throughout those movements versus,
Yeah.
you know, a very stationary like back squat where, you know, your feet are like perfectly parallel and, you know, like it's pretty easy, you know, comparatively to being on a field where you're like pushing off like your one leg. Right.
Just stay out of those bad positions to begin with.
It's hard, man.
Do you stretch
Yeah. Yeah.
every day? Every day.
Yeah.
Every single day. You stretched every day last week.
No, not last.
So you're a liar.
No, but like if I'm like working out or, you know, on a week that we have a game, like I'll stretch like every day.
What about every other week?
Well, like last week my hips were just killing me. So I just rolled out my hips and just stretched like a little bit, but not like a full body stretch. You know?
You don't have to lie to me.
I'm not lying to you.
You need to be honest.
I'm being honest with you, man. Yeah, just.
When did you start stretching? Like,
Like my towards the end of my first year in university, I was like, I'm just gonna like, you know, spend some time just making sure like I stretch out everything.
When in your day do you do it?
Usually post workout, like in the off season, I'll spend like a good like 30 minutes like stretching, like making sure everything feels loose. Or sometimes like in the evening, if I feel like after like a workout day, like so like tonight, I'll probably stretch just because my quads are just still sore, and you know, get a little roll, get a little stretch, and it's a nice way to kind of ramp your evening down.
Yeah, wind down.
Yeah,
For sure.
yeah, really relaxing.
It is. Like after I stretch before bed, I'm like, can't keep my eyes open.
You a big fan of yoga?
I mean, I haven't been to yoga in years. I wish that I found time in my schedule to do it, because it's like an hour of
Yeah,
stretching.
you're a pretty busy guy. So
and
I'm not
it's
surprised.
it strengthens too.
Oh yeah,
So I think yoga's great, but
yeah.
I haven't done it
It's
in years now.
we used to do it like in university once a week during the off season, and it like we just focused on just stretching instead of all of like the core stability aspects of yoga. But it's hard.
Yeah, it is really
It's
hard.
hard. Like I think it's like really underrated.
Underrated. What, for how hard
Like
it
just
is,
like
or?
just for how hard it is. Yeah. Like
Yeah, it's tough.
I think a lot of people think of it as just stretching, and then when you get into like a lot of the balancing stuff, you're like, oh, this is tough.
Yeah, I've ended up in the wrong class a couple times. I'm like, I can't.
Did you walk out?
No, but
you
I
powered
spent
through?
a lot of time in child's pose. Yeah, that'll humble you. Anytime you exit your domain of expertise, you know.
Yeah.
Which is good. You should try to do that.
I think
Back
you
to
gotta,
the failing thing.
yeah, you gotta try new things and see what works. Like I had you know how Coach Wiley was saying, like at the start of the year, yeah, snap with your left hand, you know, because if you
Right.
like,
Yeah.
you know, you never know if you hurt something on your right hand and you got to snap with your left,
Right.
like you got to do it. And then I was like kind of getting some snaps with the left, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna screw with the D lineman like in a one-on-one. So I'm like, because they always line up on your right side when you're at center, because they want to attack like your snap hand.
Right.
So I'm like, well, I'll just put both hands on the ball, but then I'll just snap with the left. And I'm like, the
Tricky.
snap was horrible. But I'm like, it kind of worked out.
You thought yourself.
Yeah, I'm like, if you're gonna try it, you gotta try it like one-on-one in practice.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to try that in a game.
You know what?
What?
Yeah, you're probably right, but I tried an up kick like the one day, a couple of the plays like in our last game, and I'm like,
In the game?
yeah, I'm like, that was like my first time like really trying it because I felt like confident in it.
You've
Like
been
all year.
practicing it?
Yeah, and I was like, oh, like this feels like
Right.
nice. You just when you get it, you just stone them like right at the line of scrimmage, and
Right.
it's just like way different than like your normal like drop back pass protection. Right?
Yeah, you got to mix it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing too, is like just incorporating different sets. You know, being able to change it up, because D linemen are always trying to change it up. Like you see so many guys try to lull you to sleep with like just a, you know, bull rush, and then next thing you know, it's like, oh, like here's a quick swim, because you're anticipating the bull. So you got to be able to switch it up on them too, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So who's the toughest guy to block so far?
I don't know. There's been a lot of like really good guys, and it's like really tight. Like we just had our.
Who stands out?
For me, I'd say Szott.
So
Yeah, he was good. He was good. He got me a couple of times, and like run and pass. You know, it's not just
Right.
like he's
yeah, he
just
plays
good. Just good in one. It's like in both, he's good.
both. Nice. Yeah, he's a good player.
Yeah, I'd say him. How about you? Who is the toughest guy in your opinion you had to go against?
I don't know. There's a lot of good guys inside.
It's tough. It's tough. Like
Soul's always good. I didn't play against Sass this year, but Mikey Johnson.
he's good. It's tough because It just feels like looking back on that game, like it feels like kind of long ago, you know.
Yeah.
Like we played.
You think you're a lot better now?
It's just we've played 10 games, like or 11 games since we played them. You know, so it's just like trying to be like don't feel like I'm the same player as I was.
Have you
my
gone back and looked at the
No,
early season tape?
no.
Save that for the off season.
Yeah, we've already looked at it a couple of times. Like
Oh yeah, we look at the cut ups and stuff.
like in the cut-ups and stuff, I'm like, what the hell am I doing
It's
here?
crazy to watch. Eh?
Yeah, like you know, just like pattering your feet at the line of scrimmage. I'm like, why? Like, you know, like what you're saying, like just like take like a step back.
Move with a purpose.
Yeah, move with purpose instead of just all of like the wasted movement. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Huge difference. So
Well, it's good to get to make those mistakes your first year.
yeah,
Learn. Yeah.
You win and you learn.
You win or you learn. I think that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
You're giving me.
Remember,